wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing day to be a bull and a horrible day to be a bear, as quite often is the case. So, again, Mitch is over there cheating on us on another program. He'll be over in a second, and I think we're also joined by our buddy Steve as well. So it'll be a full house of charts and nerd things, and it'll be fantastic. Speaking of which, I just heard a little beep, but we'll let everyone get set up. So, in case you missed it, we had some type of economic thing that just happened. That's how much I pay attention to these things. And all of a sudden, we ended up gapping up pretty well. I'm trying to even figure out what day it is today. It is Tuesday the 11th. So it was some sort of inflation rate and CPI stuff. So that's out of the way. Market seems to like it. Market seems to like everything right now. I think we're in that, like we mentioned, calling up the wall of worry, where everything's going to be bullish. And I put out a tweet this morning that that a lot of people seem to be agreeing with, that this will be the most hated all-time high in the history of the stock market, because there's people out there. I know there's crazy people out there that still think the market cares about news and fundamentals and isn't just a entire sentiment type of thing. So, but before we get into some charts, I see that we have a friend. So I'm going to add you to stage here. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, good to see you. How you doing?
You enjoying the absolute relentless bid in this market, this insane rip that we're having every day?
It's pretty fun while it lasts. I mean, I guess we just keep riding it. I'm one of those people who thinks the market might eventually care about news, but until then, let's party.
Well, it's been what, like 100 years now, and it's never really cared. So maybe it'll start tomorrow. But
well, we can always retroactively assign the news. Say, oh, this is why it happened. I'm with you. Technicals drive it all, but
that's why I think is I am waiting for the day, and I know it will never happen, when CNBC doesn't say stocks were up because of this reason or down because of this reason. They actually say that in advance, and it will never be the case. So, right, I am convinced they write two headlines, right? So there's like a big inflation number, and they write stocks up because of this big inflation number, or stocks down, and they just wait for the market to close, and then they just push out whichever one ends up being the truth. Because
my favorite is when the market's down halfway through the day and the headline is stocks down on X headline, then the market reverses when it hits support, and then the end of the day is stocks up on the same headline.
It all feels like positioning. Like every time I put out a bullish tweet, I get all the perma bears coming out. So that just tells me that there's still a lot of people that aren't, they're not invested, right? They're not invested in this market. And until that happens, until everybody is back in, we're going to keep going up. And that's just the way it works, right? If everyone is either short or, just they don't own stocks, well, they're going to have a hard time. And then as soon as everybody owns stocks again, that's when we'll go down, and we'll find some other news excuse from there. So it's going to be interesting. So let's get into some charts and just take a look around. So it's an interesting candle. I was just watching this thing live. So whatever number came out, we were down, right, when we opened up this morning, grinded back to just about even. Then this number came out and a big spike, and then a pullback from that spike. So that's interesting to me how quickly that wick happened. I don't know if that ends up being a top or someone shorted or sold into that, but I think obviously one of the biggest prices to watch this morning is just the top of that wick, because if there's going to be people that are shorting it, they're probably going to be using that as an exit. Here's my
I think it's worth noting that this is the highest volume potential rejection we've seen on the way up, and well, I mean, it's pre-market, so we'll have to see. But it is a little bit not worrying to me, but it's worth noting for sure. Just that this could be a relatively logical place, this big volume shelf that we just spiked into and in theory rejected. I wouldn't be too shocked to see a little pullback, maybe backfill some of that gap before we kind of retest and drive for that all-time high. Because I'm with you. I think at this point it probably needs to happen at the very least 600, and at that point we're right there, right? You know, but it'll be an important daily candle, I think, considering this wick. So.
Well, and it's funny, I came into the year thinking that this would just be an incredibly choppy year, and was, at least in the beginning, proved completely wrong, but I might actually end up being the case, right? And it's just a chop, but incredibly volatile chop. So I'm still in the camp of a nowhere year, because again, we had 2 back-to-back massive 40% years or 20% years, right? So 40, up 50% or so of the market from the last lows. And ever since then, it's just kind of been consolidating and resting. So I love, there was a tweet from Ben Carlson yesterday, and he was like, the beginning, because, well, I'll find it here, I retweeted it, but it was, rates are just where they were at the beginning of the year. The market's just where it was at the beginning of the year. So if you just kind of didn't pay attention, if you weren't like us in the trenches every day, you wouldn't have noticed. But it's, yeah, so yeah. Here's the tweet. S&P 500 at the start of the year, 5,800. S&P now, 5,800. 10-year yield at the start of the year, 4.6%, now 4.5%. So it's like nothing has changed. It's just changed a lot to go nowhere. So, it's one of those where, imagine, because people don't care about, if I'm invested with XYZ fund or institution, I don't care that's volatile. If you come at the end of the quarter and I'm looking at your reports and you are not fully invested and the market has gone nowhere this year, so the market is, down like a little percent, the market's down 1% this year, and you are down money because you puked out at the lows and you didn't get back involved, you're screwed. Yeah, we're down 1.9% year to date. So
the classic violently flat, right? And volatility is opportunity, right? It's just a chance to get in more. So the amount of charts I've seen do, as my community likes to call, crime taps, where they just puke to the 200-day for the first time in 2 years and then instantly rally 30%. It's like, oh, okay. I guess there were still buyers waiting to get in. Yeah, I guess we're not too bearish. What I would like to just note is, like you said, we are flat on the year essentially. My question is, do the macro headlines and the macro kind of environment, does that warrant being flat on the year? It doesn't matter. First off, it doesn't matter, right? It's a technical, it's the market is support versus, or demand versus supply. So it's not like that's going to be the primary driver. It never will be. But we have some headwinds that I don't think that we've actually digested. I mean, sure, if you look at tariffs in isolation, we're about 5% higher than the Bidenomics regime in terms of Chinese tariffs. There are other policy headwinds that I don't think have started to be priced in. They could be digested very, very, with acuity, and we could move on to new all-time highs and keep pushing higher, have another 40% year or whatever, 30% year. But they could be very relevant going forward in Q3, Q4. So I'm curious to see how it plays out, because I'm not convinced that we are out of the woods in terms of some of these longer term policies that might start affecting it. But hey, we could trade a lot higher and then negotiate that through a back test of all time highs. Some of those headwinds.
Well, and it's one of those. Right. Like you mentioned, the inflation or the tariff rates haven't really changed a heck of a lot in the grand scheme of things. Everything so far was just rhetoric. So I think the market's just like, okay, let's continue to act as if nothing's happening, because nothing's happening, and then see if something happens. Then we can, we can actually start to do something from there. So this always happens where if there is some amount of talk, the market just starts to get immune to it over time. The example I always bring up is the Roaring Kitty guy, right? When he came back from his couple-year hiatus and he did a tweet, then GameStop's up 20%. And then it crashes right back down. And then he comes back and he tweets again, and then GameStop goes up like 10% and crashes back down. And then he comes back again and he tweets and GameStop barely moves. Just the market has gotten acclimated to enough people have gotten slapped around enough that they're going to go, okay, well, go from there. And then the other thing I think, we would talk about policies and all that kind of nonsense. But I think what we've learned is that Trump will collapse and he will backpedal on whatever it is if it hurts the markets, right? Especially the bond market, but more particularly the stock market. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. He'll go immediately back on it if the market gets hurt. So now you've got the most powerful man in the world with access to all of the money in the world, showing you that he doesn't want the stock market to go down. So then the question is, do you want to bet against that, right? Do you want to be the guy who's like, I'm going to take the other side of the president. I'm going to take the other side of the guy who can essentially make any policy he wants to make the stock market go up. That's certainly not a bet that I would take, right? The market goes up generally anyway. So, we've seen that if the market goes down enough that he'll go, okay, I'm going to go back and completely undo what I did. He could very easily lower taxes, remove regulations. He could do whatever. And what that does to the economy, I don't care. I don't live in your guys' country, right? I only care about the direction of the markets, right?
What I will say is, you're right. I don't want to fade that directly, but I have been doing very well fading it indirectly in terms of betting on outperformance in emerging markets, for example. So SPY's flat on the year, but China sure isn't. So in that type of sense,
yes, I am also very long China, and I'm long China for the same reason. I think that we're going back to all-time highs. Everyone hated it, right? The amount of news articles and podcasts and everything saying China is uninvestable.
Yeah.
And that was way down here in the 20s, and now we've nearly doubled from that. And there's people still worried. I'm still hearing, because of the tariffs, you can't put your money in China. And so what will happen is, if China rips, those stories will start to change and go from there. Like I don't know if you've been following the Bank of America recession calls, because it went from like 20% of chance to a recession to like 60%, and then like back to, I think it's at like 30%, and that all happened in a year, just showing that
love how price affects sentiment, huh?
Right. And that's, again, at the end of the day, it's the beauty of technical analysis. It's the beauty of what we do. I don't care. I don't care what any of these guys say, right? I just know that they're quite often wrong, that the people who study the news and read the news are quite often wrong. So I want to take the other side of everything they do and take their money. And again, I love the Charlie Munger quote when he was asked about, one of his secrets to success. He always said, well, if people weren't wrong so often, I wouldn't be so rich. Because his whole thing is, their whole thing is buying companies that people think are crap. But they've done their own research and they think they're not crap. So the masses and the media is generally wrong. Price action is generally right. I think China, as long as people hate it, I think is going to do fantastic. And then for people who are kind of worried about China in general, I know I was chatting with a buddy who wanted international exposure, but he was scared of the whole China thing. Well, you can do EEM because you're still basically doing China, but there's a lot of other guys in there as well, so it makes you feel a little bit better. I think the weightings, I'll look at it, but I think the weightings of EM it's like mostly China anyway. But there's some other stuff in there to make people feel bad.
It's a large portion of the emerging market, right? Another area that I've been banging this drum for about a month now, and it's starting to play out, is Latin American emerging markets. They're all starting to really do the thing and turn up. One in particular that's very, very appealing to me is Brazil still, where Meli's great too. Mercado Libre there, insane. Look at that.
Yeah.
What a Chad. But there's so many tailwinds going forward in these emerging markets that I think so let's take for let's assume that Trump does roll over on anything that will hurt the market. I still believe that these countries will outperform, just because the only real lasting damage that Trump has done is in terms of the United States credibility, in terms of reliability in the global market. So I think that even if Trump reverts on everything, the damage has still been done in the regard that these countries have to form some form of other alliances, other trade partnerships, and we're not going to tank the global economy. I don't think we're that silly. So these countries are primed, in my opinion, to really do well. And like you say so often, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is that these charts are pushing out of support. They're pushing out of multi-year bases. They are showing that there's more demand than supply. And I mean, for Brazil in particular, we have this really fun alignment where the 200-month, 200-week, and 200-day are all being breached as where they're being reclaimed as support, essentially. So I think that there's a lot of room on these and a lot of juice there if things don't go completely off the rails, which you always got to bet on well, first just trend reversion, mean reversion, but more importantly, oh, I hear we got a guest or a host.
Bloop.
We have someone cheating on us, but it's back. Right. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think there'll be a lot of chasing of foreign countries because, right, they're just looking to. Everyone's going to hear, it hasn't hit the newspapers yet, that you should be invested in the rest of the world. So that's going to happen, and then people are going to call their investment advisors and say, "Why am I not in Spain or Portugal or whatever weird country's going at that time?" And then again, once that happens, that will end up being the reversion back to the U.S. because that's the way it always works, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One fun one that I've been doing very well on. It's a small position, but JMIA, Jumia, they're
the
like
Amazon of somewhere.
Africa. Of Africa, exactly.
Yeah. There's an Amazon of everywhere, isn't it? JMIA.
Dude, it's like you gotta know how to speak like that. It's like we have. You haven't checked out our Netflix video on demand?
Yeah.
I know there's how to use it, man. You gotta learn how to use it.
There's an Amazon of Vietnam. There's an Amazon of, right, you name it. There's an Amazon of something.
I call Planet 13 the Apple of cannabis.
Oh, there you go.
Why? Because when you go in the store, there's like a whole bunch of like glass displays. Like, like when you go into like an iPhone store, like like you can't even, like, there's of course like show things that you can see, but it's like this glass look and everything's behind, and you have like a whole bunch of workers just trying to talk to you and trying to sell you things. That's exactly how it is there. And so
who's YOLOing UNH here, huh?
Nobody's touching that thing, because you've been talking about when are we going to see the bottom on that thing for a little while now, right? There's a reason why we don't catch falling knives sometimes, right, guys? This is the classic story of the falling knife, just continuing to stab you, and then they just took it out and they stabbed you again with it, man. This is bad looking, man.
Yeah, again, I've been saying this reminds me of Boeing, right? And with Boeing, there was the initial kind of gap down here because they were blowing up planes, and that was right in this area. And then you get like the gap down because the DOJ got involved, and then you get the gap down because they found more. And right, it's one of those. As soon as the problem starts, then all of a sudden you have everyone out there looking at you very closely, and then they start to see the skeletons. And I think that's what's going on with UNH now, is that now that they're under a microscope, everything they have ever done wrong is going to be part of. It's like, okay, you gotta look now. You gotta get close and keep a close eye. But for a day trade, see, this is the thing I need leverage versions of, right? I don't want, I'm going to call someone. I don't need a leverage version of Tesla. Tesla moves enough. I need a leverage version of like GE. I need a leverage version of UNH. And what's interesting is that I don't think it is now, but for a while there, this was the largest Dow component. Yeah. The fact that it's doing that and the Dow is still marching higher just shows. And there's only 30 names in the Dow. And again, the Dow is silly for those who, in the audience that don't know. It's super weird because it's price weighted. doesn't matter the value of your company. It's just all about the price of your shares again, which makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Boeing because that's pulling a lot of the weight there. You know, I mean, it's pretty wild seeing that. But I mean, the big thing, I think you're dead on with the comparison because they're both in markdown here. I think they've distributed for months and months and months, the Boeing previously and now UNH. And that kind of puke is what you get. So I'm not losing any sleep over this company that's made its money off of primarily using AI to deny elderly people claims. You know, that maybe we need a little market correction here and a little accountability.
At some point, though, and again, I'm not hurrying to chase. What I've done is I've taken, this is the Anchored View app from before that earnings report, the initial news. I'm going to look for this to get reclaimed at some point, but at some point, this is going to be like the greatest buy of all time because company's not going anywhere, right? It's, you know, maybe it goes to 300, maybe it goes to 250, but it's going to be one of those companies that you're going to like blink your eyes, kind of like what we're seeing now with Boeing, right? You're going to blink your eyes and 2-3 years later, it's going to have doubled or tripled off the lows, and you're going to get paid a sweet little kind of dividend as you go. So this ends up, there is a moment where this gets added to kind of a long-term retirement account where it's just gotten beaten up so much that you just kind of have to hold your nose and buy, because it's only a matter of time till this is new all-time highs, whether that's a year or 5 years or 10 years or whatever, who knows. So for a trade, absolutely no. Well, for a day trade, I'm going to look to buy it today, but for like a swing trade, absolutely no touch. But for an investment, I don't know if this is one of those moments where I want to take, you know, say I want to allocate 10 grand to UNH. If I want to take like 3,000 and put it in here, and then maybe another 3,000 in a month and another 3,000 in a month, because I don't know, at some point you've taken one of the most valuable and profitable companies in the world and you've cut it in half, and you're going to regret not getting in.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be a buy at some point. Question is how deep. The other question is how impactful will any potential healthcare reform be on them? And I think that it's pretty naive to bet on anything in the next couple of years that will shake things up enough for their business model to not be worth a 50% discount, right? I mean, they're going to figure out some way or another to keep the premiums coming in, to keep denying claims. And I mean, there's a reason why it's this explosive stock. Even after a 30% move down, it still is up a ton on the yearly chart. If you look back a couple of years, 40% decline, but on the yearly chart, it's just retesting like whether it's going to keep going parabolic. So
I would love to see like this just completely puke into the 200s. If I ever wake up and this thing's 250, I'm going to put 10K in it and just walk away for a couple of years. Just, again, not a huge portion of my portfolio by any means, but just enough to like, so when I look back at it and it's at $1,000, I can say, okay, well, at least because it's one of those, you never want to buy it when you should buy it. And that's the same thing I think the whole world is going through right now, right? My tweet this morning was, again, this is going to be the most hated all-time high break ever. And I think it will be, because no one wanted to buy it right here when everyone was saying, right, it's going to be a Black Monday and the world's coming to an end and blah, 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 blah. And they all missed it. Right. So I think that, we're getting back to an area that I think is super interested in, something that at some point when we break this new all-time high, there's going to be so many people that puked out right here that are going to be forced to buy that all-time high break. And then maybe that's when we pull back, right? As soon as it's just the way it goes, as soon as all the people who were the perma bears the whole time finally, right, give up, say, okay, I'm bullish the market now. So I've got my eyes on the streets. I know I've got a group of people who are always bearish. And as soon as they either completely shut up or start to flip, that's when I think it's okay. It's time to pull back, because this move has been just nuts here from the lows. Like we need some sort of a rest, but because I think everybody's waiting for a pullback, we're not going to get it, right? 21% now from the lows.
The lockout rally is just crazy, right? I mean, this is what we do.
All right, I'll pull you guys in a little bit here and get you guys into some of the.
Oh, Mitch, your sound, bud. You're in a fishbowl.
What happened? Was it the audio? I think
Oh,
it might
you're
have
better
been
now.
that.
You're better now. Yeah,
it's StreamYard with the music, but whatever. We'll forget the music, but let's pull us back here. Forget UNH, man. No one wants to talk about the ugly stock of the day. Let's go to the hot stocks, guys. Let's go talking about what's moving out there based on news and things. I think that's what we need to be looking at. Of course,
Eddie, like 15%. It's moving based off news.
No. It's just it's the ugly news. We can talk about some more sexier names. Put it this way. I think there might be one person maybe trading UNH out of the comments or here. Maybe it's Michael, but other than that, in a lot of other day trade streams, I ain't even gonna look at UNH. We'll see what happens with the hot stocks. Let's go to Rigetti. They definitely got the knockback down. We'll see if some quantum names can lift today. It'd be interesting to see that, of course, but no one cares about earnings on these names. I mean, no one was expecting earnings to be here anyways. So I think it's an interesting spot to watch it. Now back at $10. We'll see if it can get back up towards those levels. It would be an impressive day if it ends up at, like, let's say over 12. That would be like, whoa. Quantum names knocking out the door. IonQ, of course, not looking bad here. I look at the leader here, and I'd say IonQ, show me, right? Show me move is going to be a move back through 34, getting up there to 35 and really expanding away right now. We'll look to see if we can get that. QUBTS has been one of the hottest stocks in the market, right? Of course, Michael's been on top of that too. We talked about it since the first day it showed up on the scanners on Thursday. This on a price against the market, it has a 12.52% score. The only two that are higher than this are ETHU and Pony. Those are the only two that are higher against the market in relative strength here for me. So that just shows you the relative strength that we have here. And then two places down on my watch list is QUBT. And this one's not doing too bad either, guys. Of course, this is the one that I've been trading a little bit more of. We'll see what happens now. It's broken that 8. It's held really well. The chart looks good here. Let's see if it can really get going today. I think if anything, this one's definitely on the radar today. We'll see if it gets above that and starts to break out towards the 950. But there's plenty of stocks that we can talk about, guys. I have so many stocks that I just covered on Trader TV. And then let's talk a little bit about Archer. One that I've been talking about. Look for a move back higher. And after hours, it came in with a narrower than expected loss here of 93.4 million versus an expected loss of 116.9 million. You heard that right. Losses, guys. Yet it's still being viewed as what? A growth stock, right? Yeah. So it looks like it could get a nice little rip here today. I think it's a nice chart to watch, especially with the opportunity of a fake out wick back towards that 1050. If we can get back there and we close up there towards 1050, I mean, you got a real breakout on this chart. Nice looking pattern here. I like the monthly pattern too. I've been looking at a lot of these space patterns and they all look like this. Look at this HCHR and then look at ASTS.
You're reading my mind. Yep.
And the monthlies look very similar. And I think that's why I would not watch these. Sometimes when the pattern doesn't look clean on the daily, go back to the weekly. Does it look clean there? No, go back to the monthly. You might just see that it's probably trading closer to the monthly chart than it is to the daily and weekly chart. The daily and weekly chart's faking you out on up and down moves, but the monthly is telling you clearly where the support is on this stock and where it's starting to drive from. So this is one that's also on the radar. And there's a lot of rumors out here with this stock about the Golden Dome and stuff. Do you know all about that talk, my friend?
I'm a little behind. It popped back up on my technical scanners, but I'm all ears.
Man.
They're trying to do the Iron Dome, right? From Israel.
Okay. Why not?
All over America, which is big and maybe impossible. But if they're going to pay them a bunch of money to try, then screw it. Right? They'll take the money.
That's what the speculation is. As interest builds on ASTS, I can tell you right now, I have a little thing on Twitter that does like the trend check and stuff like that. It is increasing. It's trending. It's a trending ticker today. So it's on the radar, guys. If they're going to watch it, everyone believes the story like they believe Palantir. I'll be watching it and could be trading it long today. Here's the bell, guys. I still could talk all day on setups, guys. I hope you guys caught that Trader TV, of course. And let's get to the action. Market's open. Let's go trading, guys. ARM is also one of my top watches to the long side, above 125. Can we get that? I talked about it yesterday. We'll see if it can continue. And then Dust, big winner for me yesterday, guys. $600 winner on Dust. Let's see if it can continue to run through the 32. Right now, hot already started.
I'm scalping QBTS. You put it back on my radar. It was in my newsletter this week. I think it's a really great stock. I'm in at 1090. I think this one has a lot of room. We were talking about leaders in quantum. I won't waste too much time here, but it's by far the leader. It's been outpacing IonQ by a lot the past couple months. It's just breaking out of its IPO base as well, or de-SPAC base. So I think this thing could double in the next month or two, or let's say year, or a month or two.
All right. We'll see what happens on some names. I want to see IonQ do the big move also. And there it is. Look at that. Nice breakout on IonQ. This is what I talked about, guys. The leader. There it goes. Nice 3% break right out the gates here. So IonQ strong here. And IonQ has IonX, right? I believe.
Oh, it does. That's fun.
Yep.
So there you go, guys. That's a strong move. 3% move up there towards $50 from a breakout here. Right out the gates here. So there it is. Nice breakout. Now I'm looking for a pullback on this. Can I get one? I don't know. So quantum names leading the action to the upside. Another one right out the gates here. Upside Coinbase, guys. Look at Coin go. Coin was one of my top mentions on Trader TV. I talked about how it can go and Hood could follow it. So let's see if Hood can, maybe we jump on Hood here as Hood hasn't really ran here. Let's see if I can grab it really quickly.
I love the memes about, right? They had a lot of picture of Vlad being sad because it was the two of them that were kind of competing for that SP 500 spot, right? So people were hoping it'd be Hood, but it wasn't Hood. It ended up being Coin that got that S&P 500 stop, which is very interesting because usually the top when it's added to, look at SMCI, right? When it was added to the S&P 500. Was not a place you wanted to be. So Coin, something I'm watching as well for a little bit of a sell the news event. If that happens later, obviously it's spiking now, but it's one of those. It was likely a little bit priced in.
All right, long on Hood there, guys, and we'll see if I get this. Let's get it. I'll let you continue going.
I'm trying to get in. Oh, I got in a little bit. I'm looking for that 60 handle, I think, today. SPY caught the 5-minute trigger nicely. It should be trying to sweep that wick, I do believe. QBTS is nice. 11:30, 11:28.
All right, there you guys break even already here. Just trying to get a nice little cushion trade up here to 59.60s. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a nice little $100 or something like that on this little rip here. There's 53s. Let's go. Come on. Break out a little bit above this here.
Just trim my QBTS down to half a position. Nice little scalperoonie.
End phase just triggered for me long from the system.
Okay. That's
earnings.
Momentum
I
name.
don't know what the news on. It was down quite a bit this morning. It was downgrade. So that's why end phase was down.
I think that could be a good buy because solar is really heating up. Honestly, FSLR has been looking amazing. My friend's doing good work there. Made a ton of money playing that. So I would see some I could see some follow up there for sure.
Well, and hate it, right? We were talking a lot about positioning early on, right? Everyone hates solar, so it's probably time to buy solar because everybody hates it. Right? You do the opposite of what everyone's chasing. So, yeah, in end phase, the 2-day VWAP for that, anyone following along, is $49, and it's at 45. So that would be an insane move. It's like a 5-hour trade if it actually plays out. But we all know me; I'm a complete wuss, so I will bail before it gets to that 2-day VWAP at 49. So end phase again, I'm watching UNH for a bounce because that's a massive market component, hugely liquid, and a huge move for it. Coinbase, I'm looking to fade this one. Again, if you study history at all in the market, getting added to the SP 500, not the best thing in the long run, right? Was it Walgreens started ripping as soon as they got kicked out of the Dow? Like quite often these things. Coal started ripping as soon as they delisted their ETFs. Yeah, so quite often, like everyone else, these guys are late to the party, not early.
I am looking for I'm long a lot of stuff. I'm just buying stuff right here and with stops at a little under break even. I took some profit on QBTS to kind of bolster these
Out there on
we'll
hood
push
break
them up.
even. It was trying to go there. It wasn't really getting the lift, so I stopped out of it right there. I had built up like 400, 500 shares. It was looking great here. It's already popping there back. It just shook me out there. It came right to my entry break even. It got me out, and now it's ripping here. 59.60s, looking good on hood. We'll see if it can continue to make the move with coin. Coin is still leading the market on the upside here. It's strong, guys. 238s now, almost a 240. So I just got off of that on the wrong time there. Could have easily had another 20, 30 cent winner there on hood there. So that's all my fault, guys. Just got break even. I shouldn't even left that stop out there. That's what happens when you show your hand, man. They come and get you, man. I know that nobody believes on that, but I'll tell you right now, the algo grabbed me right there. It knew this stock was going higher. It tried to grab me out. It got me out there. Look at the stock now, almost 60. It knew it, man. I had a really good winner there. That's all my fault, though. Bad execution there, guys, but could have been an easy, nice little $200, $300 out the gates.
I'm out of QBTS. I think I just caught a nice move there, and I'm not sure if it's going to keep going. So I just
missing so many moves here, guys. Because of that, now I'm looking back and look at Palantir. This was one that was one of my top stocks. Mentioned it on Trader TV. It went sideways yesterday. Really good day for it to close the gap. Already closed the gap, ripping towards 122, almost 123 there. So boom, man. Man, today's one of those days where if you had the gas pedal right out the gates, you made money. Missing plays right now. A little bit upset because with the Q's move like this is like the easy money, and we're just missing moves.
Michael, great call on end phase. I just made a very clean $150 and climbing there.
Nice.
Got my stops over break.
Yeah, I don't that wick. I don't know what that what was going on there. I thought was someone hitting the button to get
Archer,
out or whatever.
Man, look at Archer.
Wow.
Oh, good Lord, man. Now, of course, it's making this move. Been watching this for the 950 break for a while. We need those swing accounts. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Robinhood's already done 5 million shares today. And it's
Dude, that's what I'm telling you. Hood was a good call there. And I talked about it on Trader TV, how it would run with coin. If coin continued, Hood would follow. And there it is, guys. Leader to laggard style trade. And boom, coin to 240 on the rip.
I just got out at the 60 handle I was looking for there. So
I'll look for a hood pullback to 59 now, guys. It did do a nice little break there. I'm going to look for a pullback to 59 now. It's a little bit too far gone, but man, I missed out there. Could have easily had 50 cents with like 400 shares. So that's on me, guys.
Yeah, I just took 100. Just it allowed me to kind of weather that pullback a little bit. But your read was really good, man. I mean, dead on.
Yeah, read was good. Execution, like. See you later.
It happens.
Another one. Dude, they're all going to go when I'm not watching. Look at this crap. Look at this. SMR just ripping to 21, man. It's nuclear day, small nuclear day, guys. So NNE definitely in play here. It's up to $25, $27 here. I'm looking for a pullback on this, but we might not get it here. Let's see if I can get 26 here on the pullback. NNE strong and hot out the gates here. I'm going to look for a little pullback. Can I get 26? We'll see if I can get a little pullback, at least 26.20s for the first entry. I don't want to jump up here too much. I know that NNE loves to do this and then all of a sudden wash out the gates. So we'll see what happens. But, man, this is hot day, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the market's continuing to climb. Be interesting to see, right? That wick high from the earnings was 587 on the SPY.
Wow. Remember Tempest
there, man.
where we were looking at 53 here? 53 here, guys. Now, this thing is what? It's almost 40% from that call here. Tempest. HIMS continuing.
Yeah, TM, one of my best plays this year. I wish I had more of it, man. I got a few shares at what was it, 48? I
GEV,
think.
new high on GEV, going and pushing, trying to get to all-time highs. This was the one that I did tell at least one of my friends. I was like, yo, man, if there's one stock I'd invest in, I don't think GEV is going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
This is just a great stock, man. You grab this in the 300s or 200s, and you are feeling really happy now as this stock is 40%.
I took half of my end phase off. Very, very clean trade there. Appreciate you, Michael.
You can share screen whenever you want, Steve. If you want. If not, don't worry about it. We got enough screens.
I forgot I wasn't sharing.
I can show the. All right. So again, just trading the system. Green arrow alert as we cross back through VWAP. Looking for anything that gaps down, fade it up. Anything that gaps up, fade it down. And yeah, nice little push there from. So we'll get. You can show your exact entry there. You've got it.
And on the wick, reclaim of the lows, targeted this swing high pre-market, got filled, just holding a runner for potentially back to pre-market or yesterday's close. I'll put that in now.
Yeah, so the 2-day VWAP, right? This thing is obviously going to come down as time goes on. It's sitting around 48.85 right now. So that's going to be my kind of absolute target on this. I'm still holding the whole thing. I'm trying to learn to be a little bit of a good boy and do that. So, right, we don't need any crazy low float craziness, right? Everything's moving, so we can trade those. So UNH, still watching that. I'm still watching the fade on Coinbase, but we're not getting either of those alert, right? That's why we've got the alerts in place. So I'll get yelled at when and if those things happen, but it's nothing yet on them.
ASST out there, guys. One on the radar, guys. Just calling out there. There's so many trades, man. It's a crazy type of time, man. And definitely you gotta be ready out the gates here. Missing
you
a lot
short
of
RGC again, Mitch? Do you see it's back new highs?
I would think about it, but yesterday that one just cost me some profits. I still had a $400 day, but could have been $500 to $600 day. Not taking too many of those trades, but it was a tester trade, right? ETHU trying to make this huge cup form. So keep your eyes on ETHU to do a cup and handle, and maybe look for a pullback here as it's on a big cup.
Ethereum?
Yeah, ETHU. Big cup.
Yeah, so
big cup pattern there.
UNH, I'm looking long. So again, the setup I have and I've tested, and again, we use the example of end phase because that worked out well. So you're looking for something that is gap down, and you're looking for them to quickly sweep back through VWAP because a lot of people have been trained to buy VWAP. So on UNH, this one is obviously very oversold. So any sort of buy through VWAP here, I think, is going to be a really good trade. So I'm watching it very, very closely. No trigger yet, but we need to see it get back through VWAP there.
Hey, no worries, Paul. I'll take the feedback if I've been stepping all over these guys. My bad. It's an exciting open here, but yeah, like always, we'll work on it here. Hood doing really well, guys. Now that got up to 61.12. So I mean,
wow, look at that.
I screwed the coach on that one today. Could have easily had $400 on that.
Yeah, and this is hard for me, right? Because I love both these companies, but I want to fade. I want to fade them as day trades, but like I own Coinbase and Robinhood for long-term trades because I think they're amazing companies that are going to do well in the long run. So it gets really hard to fight both those. Like I'm rooting for them, Coinbase to go up, but then the other part of me is rooting for Coinbase to go down. It's hard mentally.
Yeah. It's easier when you have this in separate accounts, right? You can just say, all right, this is the long term. I know these companies are good. I'm not going to worry about it. In the short term, you can help mentally hedge that by saying, hey, I'm accumulating some capital over here, shorting it, and I'll just buy more later.
Dude,
well, I guess that'd be the way to make it feel better, right? If you make money on the short and then you buy more, that's probably
there you go.
That's how I operate in life, right? I scalp and then I'm just building the war chest.
Combo, right? I mean, maybe it's an option play on one side, right?
Yeah, totally. So I picked up a tiny bit of Uber at 88 here, and I think it's going to push to 90 today. That's just a quick little scalp. It's kind of overextended. I have a stop.
Is that all-time highs, Uber?
And it's pushing higher, baby. It's a giant cup and handle on the weekly and monthly.
Yeah, all-time highs. Good work.
It's a beautiful trade. Yeah, I've been loading every time it comes back to 60, 65, that bottom of the handle base, and it's been one of my best trades this year. Easy money, easy money. It's I'm a big proponent of like the junior Mag 7, you know, like stuff like Coinhood, these guys, Uber, who else, Palantir, all of these names I think have so much room going forward.
Need a small pullback on CEG, guys, to get long for the strategy that I've been trying to work on. So 282.50s, I'll get long, or somewhere in the 282s.
Uber's pushing here.
I missed the CEG pullback. I don't think I'll be able to get it up here. I would have to chase and risk off the VWAP.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it looks great. I mean, it just shows me that nuclear stocks are ripping, guys.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Looking for one more pullback on NNE here to wash towards 26.
How are we feeling on Tesla here?
Strong, positive, man. There's too much autonomous optimist talk from the video. So I'd be watching it, man. It might make a rip here. I think it's trying its best to maybe make a pullback to the 9, which would be a move right back to 300. But a lot of times when I see Tesla make the momentum move higher, which it has done right now, we need to see if it can just kind of keep chugging along here.
Yeah, I think it might be a little early, but I'm keeping TSLL on my watch list here.
Yeah, I think you look a big level for it to break is at 323 level. Like if it starts to clear 322.20s and 323s, that's where you really start to get like that. Okay, we're going for breakout. Forget the throwback look. Let's start going.
I took a nibble. I took a nibble for the boys. We might be
boys,
early, but I think we
the
might
boys.
not.
Honestly,
well, look right where it's stopping here, right? That's 2-day VWAP. It pulled like all of those wicks, that 317. Every time it gets under 2-day VWAP, it's wicking there, right? So our boy Kenny would be proud of that. That's the break back through VWAP would be the trade that Kenny would be taking if he was taking this trade.
Okay, I'm in. For me, it's cooking some short-term triggers here, and it looks like it wants to breach above and then flip into support. So we'll see. I have a stop at that low. Just a little nibble.
NNE holding well here on VWAP. A little part of me thinking maybe I got to jump up and grab it here. It's sideways here. So looking at it really quickly, I want to fake out to the downside so that I can get in on a better look. But NNE on the radar, especially with SMR, the way that it's ripping out. I can't catch that rocket. It's already rocketed too much. And this has been one that I've been waiting on SMR. The big look was for it to start to break 18. And then yesterday it broke 18. And then this morning just does a nice little 1780s pullback right before the open and then just take off.
Wow. That revenue beat. I just didn't notice that till now on SMR. They were expecting 3 million and they made 13 million. That's a huge revenue beat for SMR there.
Man. And the way that the daily looks on this looks like a beautiful swing trade entry, especially near 20. Maybe you're risking towards 18 where the breakout spot is. If you could risk down to 16, you're really golden. And I think that this is looking like a long-term trend line approach back towards 2250. And if you get back to that level, you can see those kind of peaks. If you drew a trend line from those 2 touches, oh yeah, you'll start looking, and you can get 3 touches because that other peak, right? So boom, this is looking awesome. And I think it's an area where it's a right theme to look for some continued increase exposure. And
I could see the administration here again. I'm not American, so no dog in the fight, but I could see them being the kind of administration that would just waive any sort of environmental, like they really get rid of a lot of regulations that would be standing in these guys' way, because that's their biggest thing. Everyone wants nuclear. It's getting around the regulatory environment to install small nuclear reactors all over the country, which is just terrifying when you say that sentence. But I'm sure that we're not dealing with Chernobyl style ones. There's probably a lot of safety in these names.
If there's one thing that the United States is known for, it's regulatory safety. So, no, I think you're right. I think I think that it's a matter of when, not if. I mean, this is the future. I'm watching Tesla wake up here. I'm kind of want to add. I'm going to wait a little bit for a little bit deeper of a pullback, but I could see indices fading a bit. I could also see them just chatting out of this consolidation, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm about to take the rest of my NFA. I got a little bit. I got half out for a winner. If we spend too much time under VWAP here, I'm going to just kill the rest of this and call it a good trade and look for the next one.
Totally.
All right, guys.
Pretty close to that point too. I got to stop at break even at this point, but
I'll give you guys a quick run through some of this watch list. There's so many names. I feel like I got to bring them up because it's not one name. There's like 30 names on this watch list that are looking pretty decent. So KLAC, I've talked about this trend line break for a long time, looking for it. And look how the breakout came on that. That's a beautiful move, guys. I don't think this is stopping anytime soon, especially with the tariffs changing. This thing never wanted to break down. That's a big sign. Even this breakdown doesn't look bad. It's a really good recovery of 600. So this is what you call an undercut and rally trade, and it's rallying. So that's KLAC. MOS, remember we talked about that one, Steve?
Yeah, look at that.
Look at the continued trend hold. And we talked about this last week, Tuesday, when it was on the 9 EMA. Talked about how the 9 EMA could be a nice hold for it to recover and then just continue going. Look at it now. CF also doing the same thing, holding the 9 EMA and going higher. Trend trading, guys. That's what I'm seeing is working right now. We went from mean reversion trading a couple of weeks ago to now trend trading all around. So the swing traders are just cashing right now and riding those trends. So I would continue to watch for trend trades. Those are the ones that are going to be the ones that continue to watch. QUBT, we'll see if it can get going here. Nice little 15-minute pullback towards the trend line. We'll look to see if it holds this, recovers 9 right back to the upside. Leading the market, let's go with those stocks first at the top here. I'll give you guys those names. You got Archer at 1080, guys. 1080. I was watching this thing. I'm a little annoyed I'm missing it, guys. But there's so many names like Tim's, TEM, one of my top names to watch. And then E will look for that to keep going. Palantir, I had that feeling yesterday. Okay, you don't want to go? Well, today you'll go because now you can really start to rip. Coin continuing. Hood continuing, guys. CEG, I talked about it just a minute ago. This is the same strategy I've been working on, guys, where you were looking for a nice breakdown through an hourly support. This hourly support in the morning, 281.80. It breaks down to 280s, recovers. Then when it goes back to VWAP, what are you going to look to see? Can it hold VWAP? This first attempt doesn't hold VWAP. It starts to close above VWAP here. That could have been your entry. Your risk is down below the 280s, and now you're just continuing the trend higher. Nice little strategy move there on
real
that
quick,
trade.
Real quick. Tesla trade's starting to work. We got a big candle through those levels of support. If we get a back test, right now we're negotiating 320. But if we get a back test, am I on this? Where is my chart?
Yeah,
there's
two.
Okay. So this one's working. I think that it's going to keep pushing up a little higher. I'm looking for pre-market highs to be swept. That's where I'm going to be starting to take profit. Qs are through my. Let me switch to my other charts.
Well, you know what you can do too, Steve? Just on that chart on the tab, there's the full screen mode. That's what I use a lot of the times when I want to show it. You can just hit the little square, the full screen mode.
It's on a weird side monitor.
Oh, it's on a weird side monitor.
Let me give you my other chart here.
Yeah, that happens.
Let's put that up for now. Yeah, this Shockwave saying ASTS. Look at that round trip.
ASTS.
Right back down.
I actually like this.
I know that's a 70% retrace. Might be worth a stab here.
Yeah, the key is the hourly support is all around in this 26 area. So if it breaks 26, then I'd be a little bit concerned. But as long as it can stay 26 here, it's just washing traders out. So essentially, what did it just do? It just stopped out, of course, a bunch of, if anybody was short on this thing, out the gates. And then the longs just keep jumping. And now they all got stomped out.
Man, Steph always finds the most insane stuff out there, man. Look at this thing.
ICCT trading. Is that ICT's pump and dump stock?
iCore Connect.
Good daily chart on this thing. This thing could keep ripping. $3 pullback would be a nice area.
Cloud-based software. They're probably YOLOing to Solana like the rest of them. Who knows?
See what my scanner is picking up in the small caps.
Yeah, that daily chart's not too bad because it had this big pop and it retraced, but not a huge amount, right? Nice orderly pullback, and now we're popping there.
Pattern break, right? It's not just a random penny stock jumping. It has a daily chart
Mhm.
with a pattern, right? That's what we like to
Yeah.
see a lot of on the penny stocks. Show me that you can hold patterns, and those are better ones to trade. That's what I would say. And I think that's something just to keep watching, right? ASST is one of those that I think today some people are shorting. I think this has some ability to maybe take a rip. ASST daily chart's been going sideways right on the 7. Interesting looking chart, right? This up 1,400%.
I hate it so much. It's the crime basket, you know. What can you say? What can you say? Asset entities, the most intangible BS name ever. Like, what does asset entities do?
So you know what they did, right?
No.
With this company. So what they did was they merged it with a crypto like investment company, like a company that's buying Bitcoin and holding it, a copy of MSTR essentially.
A lot of them are doing that, yeah.
And
And
so
it's-
this is exactly
I'm
why
in.
this stock is getting that move, and it's getting it, and it's starting to get hot as we talk, guys. You know how a little part of me, because I've been wanting to short this thing, and I know it's a rocket, and so that's what's telling me, watch out.
When you
Just
get that
the thought.
itch, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
well, it's to short it. It's probably the it's to stay away.
it's funny because it does look like, if you just bring up Solana,
Yeah.
right? It does kind of look like Solana, where it had that crazy move and now it's just consolidating here. So this Solana chart actually looks great. And I
Yeah.
bought a bunch as we broke this AVWAP. So I'm certainly talking my own book. But yeah, if you look at the charts, they're doing the same thing. So
All right,
maybe
guys.
just
NNE
watch Solana.
holding in here,
Tesla's
guys.
going
I might
for
take
it.
a shot. Yeah, I might take a shot on NNE here.
Okay,
I'm
right
gonna take
on.
a shot.
Michael, when things die down a little, I'm going to need a fart coin update, by the way. I'm surprised I haven't gotten a victory lap recently.
Oh,
Because
yes.
they don't need a. It's consolidating, man. The percentage of my net worth that's Farcoin now is just growing to the point of hilarity. Because yeah, I put in like 10K
Big meltdown.
You are the fart lord.
at 50, and now we're up to like 350. So I don't know. It looks good. It's consolidating after a breakout. This
Hey, what
whole
can you
chart.
say?
Dude, you need to program a sound button. Every time it hits new highs, it just farts. And you're just like out in your house, and all of a sudden you hear a fart. You're like, oh, I'm making money.
You know
Your
what's-
wife's gonna love that?
What's absolutely wild is if you do a fib extension,
Yeah.
it roughly lines up with 420. So if you do a fib extension from this pullback, and this is the technical way to target a breakout of this kind of cup and handle pattern, is a 1.68 fib into new highs. That is roughly 420. So of course, if Farcoin gets to 420, I'm selling it. You just have to at that point, right?
You got to do it. If there's one thing I've learned is never underestimate the streets' willingness to put big orders at 420 or 69. They love it. I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of frat bros over there having a good time. So let the boys cook. Let them have fun. We can hit 420. Why not?
Let them go for it, man. I can't blame them. Can't blame them.
Let them cook.
Dude, I was out cooking this morning. I was feeling it on Trader TV. I don't know if you guys caught me, but we were out there, guys. Look at your boy.
Oh, look at those. That's some drip right there. That's
look at your boy. Look at your boy out there.
Stunting on him. I love it. I love to see it.
Look at it. Look at his face.
He's just like, what do I do with this? What do I do? I got riffraff on here. I don't know what's going on. I love it.
He's asking the producer, is that really Mitch?
I didn't know we had Daft Punk in the studio.
All right, guys, I'm long on the NNE. Well, I'm looking for the 27 break here. I want SMR to catch up too, and SMR not going back to the VWAP is a good sign. It didn't even want to come back to VWAP here. I think it would be a good opportunity if it gets down to 20. I'd like SMR back at that support, but we'll see what happens if NNE here can just go for the break.
Man, Rando's putting out some heat today. I've been watching your comments, man. You're popping, making me laugh.
Oh yeah, man.
on the headstone.
Going Kanye. Going Kanye.
Oh, yeah. Going Kanye. There it is.
GEV, man, ripping, man. There's so many stocks just completely to push. It's crazy. Have you seen this pony, man? Oh man, it's starting to break though, guys. So this one might be a nice little short. This would have been a nice one. Nice little look fake out to the upside. Big break on the downside. This has been the one that teamed up with Uber, and that's why it's been really ripping, guys. But look at that. Uber's on
Speaking
a new
of
high,
Uber,
man.
I was gonna say my profits are
One
up.
of my top stocks out there, man. That thing ain't going away.
Yeah, I'm literally like, I have a irresponsible amount of Uber in my Roth. I couldn't feel stronger about a stock. I mean, they keep going up in price, but they keep getting cheaper. They're a free cash flow monster. What can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a unicorn.
I like this.
I want to mortgage the house I don't own to buy more or refinance. You know, I want more Uber. I want it. I want it all. Yeah, how are our quantum names setting up?
I like the setup here. It doesn't look bad at all. I'd like it to break like 90s here. Then I can get in here and risk off the low around the 70s. See if I can get a 90.
Reading that comment. My bitch Terry has to mention having 500.
Got to do it. You got to do it.
What a weird thing to hang your hat on. It's funny.
Yeah, man.
Hey, if it goes up,
The market
it's a good
we live
trade.
in, man. It's the market
QBTS is setting up again. It's trying to reclaim VWAP. I think that's probably a buy here off of 11 again.
I took a little bit there of IonQ. I'm looking for this rip back above the VWAP. I like the setup here, man. It doesn't look bad at all here. I don't mind adding at 32.90s if I can get an ad. But if not, I'll just let it go with this 100 shares. Let's see if it just wants to rip here and just keep going higher. Still in NNE also. I still like the setup there. We're looking good here. I'm just looking for it to rip above there, above the 26.90s, and then start to make that breakout there. We'll see what happens here, guys. Taking some shots. IonQ. And I'd like to see Rigetti get green. Look at that.
Look at
It's
that.
starting to do it right now, guys. That's what I want to see.
Oh,
remember,
wow.
this is a stock that had ugly earnings, and now it's the way the market works sometimes. Ugly earnings, let's make it go up. So I'd be watching this bad boy. It has some momentum right now. Might go for a scalp on Rigetti and then look for the longer play on IonQ. So I want to be in longer for IonQ and scalp on Rigetti.
Seriously, keep QBTS on your radar for the leader. It's been out. If you do a QBTS over IonQ ratio chart, it's just been surging lately. So that's scalp the name I think that's the highest quality in the basket now.
I'm going.
Is there no ETF for these guys at this point?
There should be. I don't know why there isn't. There's an ETF for everything.
There's not specifically quantum. There's not a quantum ETF just yet. There's Rigetti trying to make the break there, guys. Now I can go ahead and I did do the scalp here, looking for the break above this 1060 here. Let's see if we can just go for a nice little break, maybe towards like 1090s, up towards 11 is where I take the cash here. Looking to see if we just go for a quick little breakout. I'm risking right off the 1050s, so it's only a 10-cent risk here. Looking for the breakout here on Rigetti. We'll see if we get it.
Man, all my cash is tied up in trades that are working. You guys, my life's really hard right now.
This is why you always look at, because I was like, oh, there is a quantum ETF. It's QTUM. Then I go look at the holdings. Alibaba, Nokia.
What?
Oh, I know Defiance. I can get them on.
RTX.
It has IonQ at least.
Okay. It has IonQ. Yeah. It has the little guys, but it's just got a bunch of weird Reply Spa, which I think is an Indian company. So yeah, no, I want a basket of the little junky guys, right?
Yeah. Give me QBTS, give me RGTI, give me IonQ, give me ARQQ or whatever that one is.
Yeah,
that's what I want. That's the juice. Speaking of juice, Q is juicing absolutely. I'm going to take a little bit of my TQQQ off at 68.10. That's my first ATR target. And I'll put a stop under that.
And then he looks like it's going for the 26 pullback here. I'll look to try to make an ad on that and risk on the 25.90s. We'll look to see if it continues to work there. ICTT, still is that one still making the move out there? I'm looking Archer room on the daily. Archer barely pulled back. That's a good sign there. It didn't even want to pull back off the 10 or the 11 look. It just literally went on the 9 EMA. So it's on the run. At least that's what I see on a momentum run. I see stocks not pull back. What you got, Steve?
Real quick, I just took half of my Uber off. That filled at 90, and I took a quarter of my Tesla off as well. Let me put that up on my chart. Yeah. Uber got filled at 90. holding half of that just to see if it can keep cooking up to 91.50-ish. Tesla, I have quarter of my position off at the previous highs. I should be taking another quarter off pretty soon here. So
I just added there on IonQ, guys. I just saw the setup looking really nice here. I can hold off the 33s and then look to see if this can really start to make a run here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think Tesla's about to juice here pretty significantly. I want to see TSLL hit 1375 today.
Man.
That's what I'd really like
Remember,
to see.
this was the level that I talked about, the 323.50 area, and it's getting hot through this area. Hey, there it is, man. Way to front run it, my friend Steve. We talked about it. You said you're going to go for it, look for the move, and you got it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We defined our risk and we let it rip, you know? What else can you do? What else can you do? Sometimes it works.
That's why it was the sunshades type of day, man. That's why I went on Traded TV like, dude, look at all these stocks. I'm going to run through these names, and then we'll see how the list was. I'm going to go back, and I think that's one of those things that we can definitely do. This was one of those days that buying power was needed if you were ready to go. Out the gates here. Qs straight up out the gates, 15 minutes candles. Now it's starting to slow down a little bit. Let's see if we can get a bigger candle than the opening one we got at 9:45. But Qs leading action. VIX now almost to 50. Meltdown continuing.
Just give me a little more of a push. I need a little. We got time. It's 7 o'clock my time, so you know we got time. We got time.
Well, and I'm just watching us grind up to that wick from the CPI print at 8:30. That's 587. We still got a way to go to get there. And if we get through that, you got to imagine there's a whole bunch of stops from bears above that that are going to get triggered. So, but it seems like we want it. Right? We're grinding to it.
I was considering looking short with that wick as my risk, and then I thought, wait a second, there's a lot of me's out there. I think maybe I should do it myself. You know, and it's worked well so far.
Yeah.
Okay, I just took a little bit off of my TQQQ. I always say the wrong amount of Qs. I always say like TQQQQQQ. It's too many letters.
The TQs.
The TQs, exactly. Qs and TQs. We got some boosting going on in Tesla through our bulls shall not pass line, which means that it should be a nice boost up here to 1350 or so. I will be tranching out at each of my levels because I am a systems trader, Michael. Are you proud of me? Something like that.
Going for a scalp here on Rigetti. Let's see if I can get it here. Here's 1065s. Now starting to make the move. Let's see if we can get this to jump up here. ETHU going right back to the highs there. We'll see if some crypto names can bounce back. That's been the best name in Ethereum, man. It's made such a run. I have a guy that's been calling out the Ethereum targets, and boy, oh boy, he's looking good, man.
You love to
find him on my Twitter.
Struggling, so they need a win.
Jesse Olsen, good chartist, man. He's really good.
It's been a lot of whales buying. One thing that's interesting in the crypto market I've been studying more of is the on-chain data. There's so much more data you can get there of people buying and selling in real time, that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's been a lot of whales dipping their toe into Ethereum.
Yeah, no doubt.
There you go, getting that scalp look here, starting to work here on Rigetti. I just need to pop towards like 1080s.
Oh, I got some buying power. What can I buy?
I got some buying power. Good. Love to hear it. Love to hear it, guys. How you traders doing out there? You guys enjoying the day? It's a great trading day right here. Mogo Pop, I see you out there, Billy F. Keeping it active in the chat. Love to see it.
I'm taking another quarter off Uber. I think it's probably still going to go, but hey, I just want to lock it in. That was a clean move.
All right, guys, trying to get a little bit more on this Rigetti scalp here. Let's see if I can get a pop into the 70s here. It's at 70 right now, and I'm in at 62. I've already hit the stop, so I can't lose on this scalp, and that's the type of scalp I like, right? I'm already not even worried about it if it comes back, but it's more about what do I take here? It's 50 or 70. I got 50 available to me there. I could have taken 50. I'm going to look for the 70 here. We'll see if I can get it.
Watching UNH, it looks like it's bottoming out here, but it's still got a long way to go to trigger and break VWAP, so...
What else we got cooking here?
All right, big moves coming in a little bit here, guys. It's 10:09. I think we really start to focus here to see if we see any change in trend, right? We're seeing nothing but a breakout here out the gates. Let's see what happens. Do we see a trend change here, or can we just continue to lift off? Q's lifting off, SPY lifting off. And if I look at the sectors, the only one down, of course, is healthcare. But if I look at some other ones, there are real estate down too. So something's going on there in real estate because it's a heavy hit there in real estate today. Big hit, guys. Big hit. Retail and office space really leaking today. I don't know what's going on there, but there's some stocks down pretty significantly. I don't know if you guys know anything that's going on real estate wise, but definitely leading the market, technology, energy, and cyclical names. Rates,
Right.
rate outlook, CPI coming in, inflation. Okay.
Well, I think there's the Fed watch tool is now pricing in 2 or 3 rate cuts this year after the inflation. Let me look at that. But yeah, so it's all about, with real estate, it's all about rates, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that, man. Here's Rigetti, guys.
Fed
There's
watch.
the scalp there. Now it's starting to break out here, guys. Let's see if I can get a little bit more here. Take the cash and run. It's going up to the 70s here. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to get in here. If it can just rip out a little bit more, I can put a stop in the green.
Yeah, RGTI seems to be decoupled this morning or today, so that's definitely a name to be in. Good read there. Tesla is getting a bit of a pullback off of its kind of ATR resistance, so something to watch. I'm watching these rising supports to see if they catch. Otherwise, I'll take a small win there. Man, I want some RGTI. If I get a pullback, I'll take a little stab.
All right, stops in the green there. Back. Grabbed it on Rigetti, took the green there. So there it is, guys. Out on Rigetti, little scalp, nothing to brag about, but I'll take the scalp. I'll take the 40, 50 bucks and keep going. That's what the mentality was. And I got into the green there. It kind of held there, and I saw IonQ go red, so I took the cash. Looking for IonQ to make the break above 33.40s.
I'm still, I don't know, man. I think RGTI might have room. I mean, a great trade. You caught it perfectly, but I'm looking for a little pullback to nibble, to be completely honest.
I'm trying to listen to myself on it. It was more, I said, I'll go with the IonQ for a longer position, and I'll go with the short momentum for Rigetti. Just because I feel like that one has a more momentum. I feel like Rigetti does, but I want to have also some exposure to the leader in the space where I think the more quality play is.
Fair. That's my basic logic with shares of QBTS and scalping whatever looks fun. So
yeah, and I think that in this environment, it makes sense also to scalp. Right, we're in that euphoria time where scalping is almost not a bad thing. I think it's important to know what environment you're in, and we're in that environment right now where the getting's good, but I mean, hey, the getting's still good, so don't get cut. But hey, it's okay to cash on these moves because the truth is, the momentum's hot right now. And when momentum's hot, you got to ride it. You got to ride it. You can't be afraid.
Push it.
I really love a conversation I saw on Twitter the other day about how a lot of traders, they first think always about losses, and that's okay when you're first starting, because I mean, one of the most important things when you're first starting is capital preservation, right, traders? I mean, I'm sure you two would agree 100% on that. But as you start to build up skill, one of the things you need to focus on is you need to put risk on in the right moments. It's no longer about losing because you know how to risk manage at this point. Now it's about how do you make money? Making money is knowing when to put risk on.
No doubt.
And I think that was such a great conversation there on Twitter. I was like, now that is valuable right there, because that's the truth. A lot of traders just get away from this. And even when they start winning, they're always just thinking about protecting losses instead of how can I go and put gas pedal on the gas pedal correct environment, right? Correct environment is always what it's important. If you have the right risk on mode at the right time, that's when you really make cash. Like Michael was talking about when everyone was down there in the dumps, and right, maybe it's time to be risk on. But you gotta know how to do this. You gotta build it up. You have to know that you can trust your risk management skills to get you out if needed, right? So
no doubt.
Yeah, and
Well
it's
said.
it's the hardest. I would say way harder than learning to take a loss is learning to sit in a giant profit and not do anything. Like
Yeah.
that's like the hard. Like and for an example, yeah, I'm even going through it right now. Like my system got me in HIMS at $41 a couple days ago, and I'm at 60. And like my every fiber of my being is saying, take some off the table, pay yourself a bit. Is a great trade. You made, you know, a lot of money, a minimum wage worker's yearly salary in 3 days. Get out, take the, and then the real part of me is saying your system says put on a trailing stop, right? This thing could go for months or even longer. And yeah, giving back that or being okay with giving back that open profit ends up being so important. And again, still very, very hard to do. I have a system that will tell me exactly when to get out of this thing, but it's so hard not to just hit the button and to pat yourself on the back, because you never know. The Pareto principle is huge in trading, right? You never know what those 20% of trades are that are going to make your month or year or decade. And just being able to hold on for those, because you never know, right? Hims could go to 1 million, or it could turn around right now. I have no idea. So yeah, I think it's the hardest part of trading, personally.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I got filled on my QQQQ there, so I am out for now. Going to keep an eye on that for reset up here, but we hit my target. I want more Tesla. I think it's going higher. I'm keeping an eye on that too.
All right, guys, I added on IonQ. Now have 300 shares, 33.14, risk at 33, starting to hold above VWAP. Looking good there, guys. I'll get back to the screens here. But yeah, I think we're looking good now. Let's start seeing if we can get some lift off. I'll go to some of my charts here, and then we can just do a little recap of the day. It's 10:16. It's been a fun one, guys. A lot of stocks moving out there. Look at Rigetti. It kept going here, and now IonQ in the green here, starting to break above VWAP. That looked really good off the 33s. Now it starts to break out here. I got also NNE starting to make the move to the upside. That's looking good now as this starts to build on the 15-minute chart. Would like to see it break out above 27 tier. We'll see if it can keep going. Let's go, guys. Let's go make some money.
I like it. I'm looking for NNE if it can pull back a little bit for me. I am in QBTS here. I'm really liking that curl up here. And yeah, let's make some more money. It's been a good day so far.
Yeah.
UNH is creeping its way up the VWAP now. It's a little bit overextended to get there, but it's definitely something that I'm watching for a potential move higher, right? I'm still looking for the VWAP to VWAP trade on that, and then still looking for the one on Coinbase. Just not a lot of triggers. It's one of those days where it's hard to find triggers because the market's just been grinding higher all day, right? So this is one of those you guys notice I'm not doing too much because, like I talked about yesterday, I've got a full large swing portfolio that's doing absolutely fantastic. So I'm just until we see some sort of pullback or reversal or something to play with. It's like Mitch was saying, this was the day to kind of punch all in on buying power off the open and hold it. There's not a lot of entries to be taking right now. It's one of those where if you're in something, you have to make the market prove to you that it's time to get out, right? Really make it go, because we're just grinding higher. The SPY has now broke that wick, and just like we thought, it broke that wick, and just immediate little spike up where profit or some stop losses were probably held. Question is, right, do we hold that? So for price wise, that's sitting about 587 and a half roughly. We need to see. So if we can hold that for a couple minutes, could go even higher, but just massive. We're talking almost 1% on the SPY, nearly 1.5% on the Qs, 0.5% on the mid caps, and then our poor IWM barely 0.5%. So
all right, guys, break even on both trades now. Just let it go. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, I'm seeing a potential double top on Tesla. I'm hoping it's just penanting out, though, just flagging sideways. So I'll be watching that last swing low. I'm also watching QBTS. I think it's just bopping around the bottom here, and it wants to base for higher, waiting for some moving averages to catch up.
All right, guys, getting some pullbacks out there. We could get some pullbacks here, so just be careful out there. Q's also showing a little bit of some high wick there at the 515, so could get a pullback now. We'll see if we do get that pullback. I'm looking to see if the Q's want to come back to VWAP. It's been grinding the 9 EMA all morning long. It's about to do the third touch, big watch on that 9 EMA. I'll show you guys it on the 1. So the 9 EMA at the 514, and it's been holding that 9 all morning long. A lot of times I look for it 1, 2, 3 touches. This is going to be the 4th touch on that 514. Could get a little bit further pullback.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, we have some questions here. Do you guys have any tips or tricks or sources I can read for afternoon trading? It's tough because you're going to get less follow through on afternoon trading. I would say consider if you can consider trading the last hour of the day. Last hour and a half of the day when the volume comes back, because it's just such a bummer trading low liquidity in the middle of the day and the moves don't have follow through. It's just really hard to I'm sorry, you're distracting me by that beautiful Z-scaler chart, which
There's too much, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying to help myself, but this watch list over here, I'm like, why don't I just have all these stocks long?
Z-scaler has been very good.
Literally this whole 32 watch list, I don't even care that there's some down. I would just be like, yeah, just bloop. Bloop. Overall, this thing's kicking, man. Chart. I mean, if we look at it like, let's say it on the, let's do a 3-day outlook from the open. What's leading here? And there's so many stocks up 8-10%. And look at HIMS. Oh my God.
Insane. There's
so many stocks. Coin is just keeps going. There's no pullback even to the VWAP.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful chart. And, it's like everybody's like, well, how could you predict the addition to the 500 S&P 500? Well, we didn't need to predict it because it was coiling tightly under a resistance, and it was in a leading sector. And the market said that it wanted to go up for some reason. Who cares why, All then we get the news, like always.
Going to take another attempt here in NNE. We'll see if we can get the breakout above this 27 here.
Oh, I just got pulled on NNE too. Nice.
One last comment on Shockwave looking to trade the afternoon. Yeah. I think a scanner and a real-time scanner, like something like Trade Ideas, would be really important for that, because you're looking for volume spikes. You're looking for things that are happening just out of the blue. You don't want to keep trading the stuff that's moved off the open. Like, you're looking for a news event that kind of just hit the tape right there and the stock starts trading. I think that's really important. The other thing I would do is I would look at all of the high flyers, these junk penny stocks that ripped all morning. Do like a scan from change from the open, and then try to see if those things are fading back down. What the hell just happened? So
what did just happen?
What just happened, guys? You guys, watch out there, guys. Something's going on. Something hit the tape there. Watch out there, guys. Something hit the tape. I know that much.
Well, what
are you seeing it in?
IonQ dropped so fast. I don't know if it was just a big seller, but it was fast.
Oh, it's an aggressive candle.
That's an aggressive candle there. And
massive.
The buying, just like the volume that went through there was fast, man.
Underperformance on those guys, eh? QVTS from the open. Like, look at IonQ and then look at the SPY.
Could have been a massive buyer off this 33. I mean, the chart looks great. I don't think the chart looks bad. I mean, on the daily at least, for sure. It's just been kind of grinding up higher, but it's in a couple of wicks here to this 33.50s. Can it get to 34 today? It's going to be a big watch. Did a big buyer just step up there at 33? I don't know, but it dropped fast.
Yeah, a little aggressive. I'd love to see it wick up like this. It tagged my 5-minute trigger here at 32.82 and seems to be pushing. I added a little bit of QBTS. Not a lot though, because it's not really responding the same. But I'd like to see that same kind of little push down and then.
Yeah, it could still.
We might be seeing like little H's forming on the volume profile or TPO. So something to consider. Might need to revisit the lower half of that range. If it can't hold this last swing low, I'll probably bail.
It looks interesting there on the QBTS. Of course, one of the things is it also rode up in the pre-market, right? It already kind of made that a nice little break to the upside there.
Yeah.
The problem I have with these quantum names, I'm a relative strength guy, right? So I just got to keep looking at, like, let's use RGTI. RGTI.
It's
Right?
better, but
Up a
still.
little bit from the open. QBTS.
I mean,
Pretty much
on my
it's now
watch list,
down
there's
from the
still
open.
it's still
And
kind of the
SPY.
third leading from the open. I mean, QBTS at least 12.5 trend versus the market, 5-day price trend. So I think it's going to be more about. There's days where the super hot one might be a little bit of a calm down move, like let's say Palantir. Palantir yesterday, it's a big move. Yesterday does nothing, and then today really hot. So the names are going to come from really hot to kind of slowing down. I think the big thing you just don't want to see is a big crash, right? If you see a big crash, that's the concern. They've been stair stepping. I mean, QBTS is just kind of pulling back. It can still do a 9 EMA attempt, and it's still looking really strong if it comes back to 9 on the daily. And it makes sense because it just tapped daily resistance 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took my last ad there off of the yesterday's close. So either it holds this or it knifes pretty hard. I would imagine. Tesla's getting a nice little candle here off of some interior support. So gonna keep with that trade here. Still nice in the green. My Qubit's hurting a little bit, but just about
markets
1/10 of my profits so far on the day. So
yeah, market's turning, getting me a little bit interested in a short on ASST, but I don't know if I can do it, man. I don't know if I could do it.
Welcome back to new highs. So if this is all we can muster for a pullback on the markets, holy smokes! If that's like, is that all you got, Bears? You've got.
Show me what you got.
What?
I mean, what bearish action should be coming in here? I just don't see how to short the market the way the market's been looking.
There's a lot of people out there that are in disbelief, and they're going to tell you a lot of stories about how, this or that or trade wars or whatever. I've got my list on Twitter, and they're still squawking. Those bears are they're grasping at straws.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, we're just riding this wave. There hasn't been bad news. When's the bad news coming? All I know is that, man, I should have never sold Hood.
I know, and Uber as well, just screaming.
I'm so annoyed about Hood. I'm so annoyed about Hood. Hood would have been literally I didn't need to take another trade all day. I've been working so hard for no reason. Hood would have been the money.
I know that feel. JD China stock through 200 day. That's interesting. I like JD. I don't understand why they China so much.
JD.
But right, we're talking relative strength. Yeah, I've got I'm still holding.
Yeah.
Chunk of Baba, and some FXI and some KWeb.
Check out XPEV. That's a fun one in the EV space. Also get the Chinese exposure.
Well, that's a nice looking little chart there.
New
nice
high
consolidation.
on coin.
I don't know why I have that line there.
You were looking too. You know you like it.
Well, that's right. It's I love that you bring up a chart you haven't seen in a while, and you've got that line. You're like, oh, okay. So that's why I highlighted this zone, right?
I guess I do know this ticker.
Resistance.
New high on coin, man. 242.64 now, continuing from their breakout of the S&P ad. This might have been the easiest trade of the day. Coin to the upside. Now what? 5%? Wow.
What a ripper. And good for
them.
And
we're talking 5% from the open, not even from the day, right?
17% today. And this is wild considering Bitcoin's not doing anything today.
Yeah,
right? This is the Bitcoin.
Ethereum's still looking good though. Ethereum is the one to watch right now for momentum, man. I wouldn't even watch Bitcoin. I'd just continue to watch Ethereum. Why? Because the Bitcoin maxis are thinking, okay, well, Ethereum's on the run. Let's go ahead. Forget about Bitcoin. Let's go looking at the ones that have gas pedal, that have the gas power. So Solana, definitely. I'm with you, Mike. That's definitely the one to watch. I like Link also long term. I'm watching that one as just something that I'm keeping an eye on. I like the chart. I think it looks really nice. If I'm just a chartist and I'm thinking, I don't want to know about it. I just want to look at the chart and judge it off of that. That chart to me looks really nice. Like it has good buy areas. It had a tendency of holding that consolidation, came above it like you draw, Michael, there. And then it comes back multiple times, giving you opportunities to get off of that resistance, right? So I think if this one can make a breakout with Solana and other names, I think you're definitely watching those. And Ethereum, ETHU just broke a new high. Oh, it's near the high, intraday high. It's not. It didn't break it, but it's close.
Chill guy ripping, right? That's the real coin
Chill
right there.
guy, man. There you go.
Chill guy is what just a 500% off the lows on the chill guy. No, I mentioned this when I was on Trader TV on Friday. I think this is what I'm doing for all of these cryptos. Anchor view app from all-time high. Set alert when they break through. I'm buying them. I've got a pretty sizable account, and I'm just splitting it up into those. It's the easiest way to determine relative strength, relative weakness, what's going on, what's not. Right. So like Ethereum, I picked some of that up because it got through there. You can see it pop through there. Same with Solana, same with all these. And the reason for that is because last time this was the play, right? So buying Doge as it broke through the AVU app right here. Solana was the same thing. You had a wicked rip as you went through.
Pullback coming in, guys.
If you anchored a view app from this high, when it broke through, you got like a 70% gain right off the bat. So that's the game plan. That's how I'm systematizing this. If it's through that AVU app from all-time high, I'm going to own some. And if not, I'm not going to. And then I'm just going to use a trend line or a moving average or something like that for stop loss.
Yeah. I like it.
Simple is best.
IonQ playing games with people here. Let's see if it can get above the 33s. It's trying it again here. I'm still keeping an eye on it. I still think it could get to 34 today. So I keep taking these opportunities that are pretty much like a 20 or 30 cent risk for a dollar potential. So I could take 2 or 3 of these here. We'll see what happens. That 33 needs to recover, though. That's where we saw the big volume come in, where it knocked it down, but didn't flush the support. And so that could have just been a big buyer adding to his position there, and kind of some pressure being added to him immediately, right? I'm sure he felt that pressure when he went big on there. So I'm looking to see if that can recover 33s, and do we get a volume pickup on that 33 recovery?
We'll push down there on that guy. Yeah, coin.
Oh.
Now that these things are starting to look a little heavy, I'm kind of interested in them because again, I'm still watching Coinbase for a short. Just no blue arrows to play, right? So
XPEV is looking really nice right now. About to take a position.
Oh yeah, right at. That's a intraday cup and handle there too.
Yep. You're seeing what I'm seeing.
Swing alert, Snow working well, man. That's one of the ones I've been talking about. I think it can keep running with Zscaler, and this is one I really like on the swing alert here. This is looking really productive, especially if it can get back above 200. I'm looking for a run to 200 here, and it looks good on Snowflake. And W looking like it wants 200 also. It's the one that I've been mentioning that could get to 200. It's a safer name to play, but of course, it's not going to give you as much return, right? But Pan W on the 200 looks like it wants it, right? And I think you can look at all these cybersecurity names to start getting lift. Why? Because you're going to start seeing more and more talk of one thing. Money Mitch always brings themes for you guys. This is where I really can tell you guys to sometimes go looking on my information and find it, right? Well, one of the things that's going on right now is we're starting to finally get more and more AI agents that are starting to come into play. So one of the plays that I talked about is DocU. DocU is already having that coming into play, and look what their stock's starting to do. It's starting to make a big breakout over a nice trend line. I really like that stock over long term, and it's starting to look really well here. Just to mention that IonQ trying to recover that 33 here. I'm keeping an eye on it. Same thing with NNE to see what happens with that one. I think that one could still recover.
Yeah, I really like these hack and bug.
Yeah.
For just because I like the ETFs when the underlyings are going to be slow as well, right? Something like a Pan W isn't going to be a super volatile name, so you're not losing that much beta or going into the ETF. But so just again, full disclosure, I own a bunch of hack, and I started buying it when CrowdStrike shut down the whole world that one day.
Nice.
They broke. So my idea there was, well, we're always going to need cybersecurity stuff. So if CrowdStrike's going to break the entire planet, maybe some people start to think about diversifying their cybersecurity across different areas. So I end up buying. I can't remember when that was, but this is like, again, a retirement portfolio kind of thing. I really like these because I agree, Mitch. This isn't going away, right? It's like insurance. Nobody wants to spend money on cybersecurity until the moment you have to, and then all of a sudden you're spending a shit ton of money on cybersecurity.
No.
So I'm in XPEV. I think that's running. I love the ETFs. What I will say, I forget which one it is. I think it's Hack, but it might be Bug. One of them has much higher holdings in mega caps, and the other is a lot more focused in actual cybersecurity names. So I like the more pure play cybersecurity one. I'll have to double check on the holdings there. But I'm just landed on plays because you get the high beta move of all of these tech names, but you also have a lot of geopolitical buffers because if things hit the fan, then like you said, you gotta invest in this stuff. It's not going
right. The Russia-Ukraine war, I think, has taught us that it's not who has the most amount of guns or the biggest aircraft carriers or none of that matters anymore, right? You're seeing in Ukraine them taking drones from Walmart and slapping a grenade to the bottom and flying it in. So their whole drone setup costs them like $500, and they're taking out like $2 million Russian tanks with it. So it really is the future of defense as well is cybersecurity, right? Imagine if you could turn off, Russia would win tomorrow if they could just turn off all Ukraine's drones, right? And vice versa. So I think this is definitely a sector that's going to not only play a role for companies defending themselves, but it's also going to be a role for countries defending themselves eventually.
Absolutely. I think Tesla's setting up here again. I'm keeping an eye on it, I might add.
Yeah, I mean, the Qs never pulled back. We didn't come to the VWAP. The market's just continuing to push higher. There's nothing to be afraid of, at least from the way the price action is right now. And I think you just continue to ride trends. And right now, that's what I'm trying to do, guys. I did get back into IonQ there. It did touch 33 for a slight second here. So I had to stop to trigger back in. So I'm back in there looking to see if it could break above the 33s and start to really move to 34s. Back in NNE, looking to see if these stocks can make the breakout. Just hanging in them, taking shots today. And that's what it's all about. Only down 88, but I've had a couple wins, had a couple losses, and just hanging in there, right? Hanging in there, waiting for the second move and looking to see if we're going to get it here towards 11.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm giving back a little bit of my profits on the QBTS. That one's not really working in my favor, but I got some cushion here. Somehow up 600 on the day. I just full sent it when we were talking in the morning. I was like, man, everything looks good. I need to buy some of everything.
Yeah, man. And that was the one that it was going to hurt me because I should have a nice like $400 or $500 cushion with that coin, with the hood, right?
Yeah,
so
the hood. That was a great read.
That was the first trade that I took. I just jumped off of it way too quickly on the small pullback. And the key too is pretty elevated on the 15-minute from the breakout at the open. I mean, it went from 58 to 61 on the first break, $3 breakout. It's a pretty nice breakout there.
Yeah, it's tough chasing those, but if you catch it halfway through that power candle, it feels scary because it feels like you're buying a surge, but often it can give you a nice cushion pretty quick. So I luckily was in too many trades and I didn't even look at the chart after I entered. I was like, all right, I think it's going here. I'm in here, just praying, and it worked out. I didn't even see the little pullback.
Yeah,
sometimes it works out.
An interesting name would be to kind of keep an eye out on CleanSpark and Mara. They're on a really hard pullback here, but they're near their hourly supports. And this is a lot of the times where I see the strategy where it shakes out all the bulls. And all of a sudden you look back at it at the end of the day, it's like Mara's at 17 or CleanSpark is above 10. And then you're like, well, how the heck did this stock do this? Well, it washed out the bulls, got back to support, found some buyers, and then really made the move.
Yeah. Absolutely. Tesla is looking like it wants to push out of the space, so I'm just hanging out in my position. It's nice and green, nice and green.
I was saying on Traded TV today, I was like, dude, why does everyone keep talking about Elon? Go back to Tesla. They're talking about the cars. He doesn't even care about the cars anymore. That is so long gone in his mind. I really don't think he cares about cars anymore. He's so past cars. He's like,
he's on Mars.
I make rockets now, bro. Yeah. Do you think I care about cars? I make robots now. I'm creating FSD. That's the new move for Tesla. That's why we got to somehow, in our mind, pull out that whole auto valuation, just throw it in the trash, and kind of believe in Elon.
Well, and that's
You
my
know, the
thing with
easiest thing for me to do is to pull out a valuation out of my head, because I don't know any valuation of any stock ever, and until the day I die, I won't. Like, that's so I've done it. I've already done it, Mitch. It's gone.
But my thing with that is, Michael, but you believe in Warren Buffett.
I believe in price trends. Right? I think it's easy to.
You see, there was some
No, I think it's
quietness
easy to
there.
believe in Warren Buffett when you zoom out on his chart. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I believe in that chart. I don't believe in him. If he
But he bought things on fundamentals, right? That's why he buy things, right?
He
many
can
ways
do
to
it, but
see
he's
that.
also right again. He's buying things on fundamentals and holding them.
I guess
for
we just don't have
50
those
some
Warren
odd
Buffett
years.
pockets, right?
Well, also
That's
he's buying
it,
them on
right?
fundamentals, and then everybody else is buying his stocks up on technicals because they see a massive order from Warren Buffett himself. So there's.
So to me, and just to throw a curveball in both of this, what this tells me more is the difference between trading and investing.
Sure.
So Michael is just strictly giving you the trader's perspective. That's why he says that. That's why he focuses on that. That's what a trader thinks. An investor thinks long term also, and goes more to that fundamental side, right? You'll see these guys all the time on Twitter. There's plenty of them, especially now on YouTube. There's so many of these guys coming out and giving you guys kind of AI looks into earnings. I can do that too, guys, but that's just what they're doing. They're giving you those looks into the growth of the outlook and the earnings. And there's nothing wrong with buying on that. I think the best long-term look is when I started to swing trade and tried to combine the variables, though. Try to find a hot stock with good fundamentals and good technicals with the market working for me. If those 4 things are on, those are 4 high convictions. Then we can go bigger in size on swings and stuff like that. I'm with you on, Michael, that at the end of the day, as a trader, a lot of times you just got to look at the price action, right?
I mean, there's so much noise, and all I'll say is I do all my investing off of technicals too. I mean, I'll make sure that the company isn't a complete trash pile, but I'll still buy it if it is a trash pile and other people are buying it. I'll be completely honest.
Well, and this is my rotational, the system that I talked about, that is right in Palantir and all these names. This knows nothing about valuations or anything like this, and this is a back test from 2008 to 2025. In that time, $1 million into the S&P 500 is turned into $3.8 million. $1 million into this system is turned into $15.3 million. I wish I had $1 million in 2008 and had this system, but obviously none of those are the case. And again, this has nothing to do with this is just it's a combination of what's the strongest stocks that are doing the most volume, and just every month rotates into the strongest stocks that are doing the most volume, and doesn't care about anything else. And this is a nice systematic way. And I've got my all-weather system, which I'll bring up here. And this is a ETF rotational system. And the idea is that the same kind of idea is get me into the strongest ETFs. You combine the two, because this is a pretty volatile system, as you can see. And you end up doing, so this is grab this. And this is just to show that, right, you don't have to, right? There's a lot of
stop that.
That was the.
I'm getting close on my qubits too.
So this is ETF rotation. It basically matches the market, but the idea is that it is way less volatile than the market, because it will do things like buy, gold ETFs, bond ETFs, the dollar ETFs, that type of thing. So when the market's going through insane drawdowns, this one's not so much. So it's systematic, everything from trading for the next 5 minutes to trading for the next 5 years. All come up with something you can test, you're confident in, and just do that thing.
No doubt.
One hedge that I'm looking at right now is, guys, that maybe a potential short here in the short term for Ethereum. It's made a couple highs in the 63s, 3 or 4 highs there. Tells me that we could be turning around there on this Ethereum. So watching it here to see if it does a rejection back through the 62. That would be the cut down where it starts to really let go.
Yeah, everything's starting to look, and I mentioned this before, starting to look
looking pretty
heavy-ish. Right? Like, and it's just at some point, profit takers got to come in. The question is, for how long? Do they come in for 20 minutes? Right? Do they come in for an hour? Who knows? Is it all day? I don't know if I would expect that. My bet, gun to my head, just this high, this wick high right here, this ends up just being like a magnet for the entire day. So you're too far below it, it comes back up to it. You're too far above it, it comes back down to it. And we spend a lot of the day right here, as again we're getting closer to lunchtime and everything, and then it makes a move. So for the viewer who was, to Steve's point, for Shockwave here, who's saying, right, I start working at 12:30 Eastern. That might be a lot of what you're focusing on. Is it just reviewing the price action from the morning and knowing that there's probably not going to be a trend at 12:30, but there'll probably be a trend starting up at 2-ish after lunch, and then you start to observe things like this. Like, okay, second we opened like a magnet, we were drawn up to this price right here, and now we've kind of chopped around it. So your trade for the afternoon might be you find wherever the low of this pullback is, and you mark the low of the pullback, and you mark the high of the day, and then you're trying to predict what direction we're going to go into in the close, right? Are we going to sell down into the close, or are we going to break out that and push higher? And I would be focused, if I had that amount of time, it would be a lot of research for maybe one trade in the afternoon, fading something, one of these crazy guys. I just got to scroll up. If I'm looking, every time I say crazy guys and I want an example, I just scroll up and look at whatever Steph's been posting there, because I know it's insane.
Love it.
But right, you take one of these pharmaceutical names that are, have quintupled that day, and then you're just looking for a fade in that, right? CNSP, or you're looking, or a continuation, right? So this one's already faded for the morning. So maybe afternoon, say this base continues for the rest of the day, you say, okay, well, maybe it's going to take a push in the afternoon back up to VWAP or something. And I know a lot of traders that trade not that 12:30 time. Most people aren't there, but I know a lot of traders, especially ones that live on the West Coast, that they completely skip the morning.
Yeah.
Right? They're coming in at lunch, they're doing research all lunchtime, and then they're taking 1 or 2 shots on a trend into the close, and then close their position and move on. So it's definitely a way to do it, right? It's just about developing a strategy for it.
All right, guys, a lot of back and forth action here. We'll see if we're starting to get into a little bit of some chop here towards the 11. We'll see if we get a trend pick here. Do we get a pullback at all? SPY is what I'm looking at also here. SPY seems to be pulling back a little bit further than the Qs. Qs seem to be a little bit smaller candles on the 15-minute on this pullback. So makes sense with Qs technology kind of leading the upside action, right? So
yep. Yeah, it's this very definitely a risk on environment, and the poor small caps, man, down on the day. After all this, down on the day, and just can't get any love at all in this world, man.
The crazy part is they've been having a lot of stocks that are ripping. It just shows me that the collection, the basket of them all, it's trash, probably. As a collection, it's trash, but there's some stocks here to watch. So
it's all interest rates, right? So if you look at it, there's the IWM can be split into basically 2 components, and that's small banks and healthcare. Both of those are like healthcare / biotech, and both those are insanely interest rate sensitive, right? You lower interest rates 1 point, and all of these little tiny banks rip, and it's a lot easier for biotechs that are basically burning money while they're trying to invent the next thing to get by. So the fact that rates are remaining high is really hurting the little guys. Big guys don't care. Apple doesn't care. Apple will take interest rates to $1 billion and be fine, because they're sitting on so much cash. They would make a lot of money from that. But yeah, your small regional bank that has 5 employees, so they're making way less on their cash balance now than they were just a little bit ago. And then this one company that's trying to invent this drug to cure cancer or whatever it is, that they're burning cash until they can prove that their drug makes sense. So the lower their interest rates are, the easier it is for them to get debt. So that's why your IWM is just so interest rate sensitive, and with and I was just looking at that Fed Watch tool earlier, and it's no chance of even next time them cutting rates. It's a hard environment for these little guys.
Mm-hmm. As we're
All right.
talking, I'm hedging up with some TZA here, just in case the market does roll significantly.
Yeah, I'm
Not
hedged up with the
expecting
ETHU. So I went with that hedge. It's a little weird hedge, but thinking that that's one of the fastest stocks and it's the leading stock against the market here today. Overall in the 5-day price trend. So maybe it might be the stock that pulls back the fastest also. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm still liking Tesla. I'm still hanging out here. I think it's still
Tesla,
got
the
room to go.
dragon, El Dragon. You see, you got to be able to flip, man. And I can tell you guys, I think it's all about stop looking at auto sales, right? Like, there was some information today, even and overnight, about their sales in I think it was in China, and they were really atrocious. And the stock is doing this today, right?
Yeah.
So that tells me more and more how the stock is starting to stop pay attention to deliveries.
Yeah, I mean it's a AI company essentially. It's a proxy for crazy moonshot technology, crazy stuff. It shouldn't be valued like
Speaking
an
of
auto
which,
company, and it hasn't been for a long time. And I think people are really having a hard time accepting that because their
yeah.
feelings about Elon Musk. And I got plenty of feelings, but I'm still long Tesla.
No,
So
he's cuckoo cuckoo, but that doesn't matter. I'll still make the
Yeah.
money, man.
Absolutely. Oh man,
Carvana.
Tesla is getting a nice push.
But also
Carvana,
to go to
wow,
Mars,
very
you
good
kind of
here.
have to be to do the stuff that Elon does, guys. You kind of have to be a little crazy, right? You
Oh,
have to the smartest inventors, the wisest like generational guys that have made stuff. I mean, you look back in time, they were straight up weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
Nikola Tesla was in love with a pigeon, and he used to pay with doomsday devices. I remember there's a story that he stayed at this hotel for whatever, and he didn't have any money to pay the guy. And he was yelling at him, and he left an empty box that would tick every now and then. Said, "If you open this, the world will end," and just walked away. And the guy just took the box in. There's nothing in it. It was just like a little like metronome device or something like that. But yeah, the dude actually wrote about how he loved this pigeon. He was trying to have coitus with a pigeon. So yeah, a lot of these dudes are nuts. So I don't think that surprises really anyone.
Well, I couldn't help myself. We talked Elon too much. I went for a TSL long here.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, Carvana is another great name in that crime basket. I mean, that's one of the most manipulated, insane stocks ever. It was a complete zombie co, and I think they just bailed themselves out with insane financial wizardry. But I think it's destined for all-time highs. What a move,
at this point, yeah.
I got stopped out at $8, by the way.
Yeah, this was a real short squeeze, right? Where they were at near zero, you're right, and then they got this short squeeze that Wall Street Bets put on, and they were smart enough to instantly go and raise tons of capital off that. So unfortunate for the people who were holding it during this initial squeeze, but they raised billions of dollars of capital, and that gave them a nice runway to weather out the storm that was happening there in the markets, and it's been grinding higher. I'm just looking at it now because I've got a trend following system that's telling me to buy, so I'm going to buy some of this guy because I think you're probably right. It's probably going to hit all-time highs. It's a 50% gain from here, and then through all-time highs. Right, there's got to be people that are still short this thing and just absolutely getting clobbered. Yeah. Another one of those hated names. I love the hated names. That's why I've been long Tesla. As soon as I saw like they're burning down Tesla plants and everything in this area, I'm like, I gotta buy. Everyone hates this thing. The fundamentals of the company haven't really changed very much, and everyone hates it. Now, is it going to go back to all-time highs? I don't think like right away. It's just kind of there's a floor put in it for now. I think the real bottom was that video of that politician who was saying, "Oh, if you ever want to feel better about what's going on, just look at your phone," and Tesla was down. I think it's up like 60% since that guy made that video. And yeah, it's again, as soon as hatred, you need two things. You need everyone to hate something, and then you need price to stop going down. You combine those two things, generally speaking, I think you're pretty good. And we were talking about that with China too, right? Everyone hated China. All of a sudden it stopped going down for a long period of time. Then that's your signal that, okay, it might be time to take a shot.
I
Yeah,
got
we're
qubits coming up off the bottom a little bit. I'm still hanging out, still beat
yeah.
up, but
It's a market inflection point right now. I think with the Qs trying to break the new high here, we're all trying to see if our bull trades are going to work out here.
yeah.
And I'm still in one of my short trades, and that's also on the kind of break even. So that just tells you more and more, right? How many trades and setups right now are on the kind of the verge of breakouts or some shorts coming into play, right? So we'll see if the Qs can just continue grinding higher. That's what I'll be watching for. Any last things? We got about 6 minutes here before we get out of here, guys. But just wanted to start the wrap up here as we start to really see some strength come back into SMR. So that's making me feel better about NNE. Another big thing, big stock move today on that SMR and never came back to VWAP on SMR. Always a strong sign when you see that, guys. That's the don't let you in trade. I call that.
Let me in. Please let me in. Yeah,
You're
I love
sitting
the
there.
breakout.
Even the patient trader is like, oh, but I gotta be patient here. Patience is gonna pay. No, sometimes patience doesn't pay, and that's the truth. Sometimes stocks just run, and then you're just like left like, what happened? Well, you needed to probably put on some risk earlier in the trade, and that's the hard part.
No, my kind of just last thoughts on the market is the same as it was this morning. This is a FOMO driven rally. There are not enough people, not enough invested in this market, and there's going to be a time, and we're getting to the end of May. As soon as we start getting to the end of June, now we're in Q2, and at the end of Q2, all of these hedge fund managers, institutions, all these guys, they got to release their numbers, and they got to say, yeah, we are either doing well with the market, because the market, I think, yep, Qs just are now positive year to date. So you are up on the years in the market. So if you are not up on the year as a individual investor or a retail or an institutional investor, you're feeling it now, right?
Yeah.
You are behind the times. And for us as retail investors, if you're not up on the year, you take a walk and you're a little bit mad, with yourself, maybe. But as an institutional investor, you got to sit down next to the guy who's given you $10 million and you are down 10, 15%, and the market is up. And he goes, well, why the hell am I paying you 2% management fee and 20% performance fee when I could just put my money in the S&P 500 and I could have been up on the year? And that creates these FOMO rallies where the guy's like, crap, at least I got to tell them that I'm invested now. And also what creates all these junk stocks from rallying, because you're not going to catch up to the market now by owning market components. You got to catch up to the market by owning the junkiest, craziest crap out there and hoping it really goes. Yep. So as long as we have this phenomenon of this FOMO rally taking place, they're not going to let you in. So, do with that what you will. I would just say at the very least, don't be looking to aggressively short this thing. And if you're long like I am, you can see I'm doing a lot of nothing the last couple of days because I'm just constantly telling myself to hold on for dear life, because a lot of things like I've got Netflix hitting all-time or close to all-time highs. I've got Palantir, I've got HIMS, and every fiber of my being is telling me to take profits because there will be a pullback at some point. I don't know when, so I have to hold on until I see that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
All right, we'll see what happens out there, guys. It's definitely a battle type of day. We'll see how the days ends up. And then getting into the green, I'll look to see what happens on Ethereum. I'm down on Tesla right now, but trying to hold off the 1310s. And that's on TSLL. We'll look to see if it breaks the 1340s. Q's new high. Let's go, guys.
Let's get this question before we go. He's basically debating between the flex and the max. I think it boils down to how confident are you in the ability to pass in the time frame required? If you're someone out there who either you're okay taking multiple swings, right? You're trading a little bit larger, you're going a little bit more aggressive because you got that time limit. Then do the max. For me, that time limit really messes with my psyche. It really, really does. Where I feel the need to take trades, and then I'm going to feel the need to take stupid trades. So for me, I go with the flex, because then I'm like, I can trade as long as I have a non-zero amount of edge in my system. I can trade it super, super small, and eventually I'll pass the account. So again, it's all about what you feel that edge is. Now, if you're okay and you've budgeted, I'm okay blowing 4 or 5 accounts because I really need to kind of swing for it, then go ahead. But if you're someone out there who A, you're not really confident in your edge, or B, you think that there's certain market environments that could slow down the amount of money you're making, then I think you go flex, because you've got all the time in the world there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens out there, guys. The battle's on, and I agree with that outlook. Another big thing of the packages is understanding the drawdowns on the daily limit. So the daily limit of pausing you out on the max pauses you out in a smaller time, a smaller risk amount than the flexible one does. Don't forget that flexible one, you can lose $1,000 in a day, and that's half the max drawdown. So one of the things you want to remember is that you won't get that automatic stop out on areas where you think you will. So one thing to remember of a caveat of the flex, right? So it's about what you want to go after, right? In determining that. I've done a couple of the flex. I've done, of course, actually, Michael and I both have done one of the 45 ones in past also. So it doesn't mean that you can't do either. It's just more about you as a trader and what you're looking to do. And I do agree, looking at that post evaluation should weigh into your thinking, because at the end of the day, if you're looking to make money and that's part of it, and you want it to be fast, well, the max is going to be definitely that avenue for speed, right? Yeah. Think about it like this. It's once taking a cruise and once taking a speedboat. Which one do you want to take?
For me, again, it's the mental thing for me. Like, it's so much easier mentally for me to have all the time in the world. But again, it's entirely up to you, right?
All right, guys, that's going to do it. We'll be back tomorrow. It's 11:01. Stay safe out there, traders. Like always, check us out and reach out to Michael Nas on Twitter. Reach out to Steve, Justy Trades. And you guys see my tag always right underneath, MoneyMitch_TTP, of course, for Trade the Pool. And we'll be back like always. Keep taking a look at Trade the Pool and let us know what you guys are doing in your evals. Who's going ahead and cashing? I want to see who has the 200,000. And Shane, where you at, man? I know you got like 3 funded accounts. One is hit this guy over there, just keeping them like they're nothing out there. But I like it because he puts the pressure and he relieves himself. When one is looking bad, he trades the other. And he has other accounts to kind of work on that. Definitely a cool way to look at it. And like always, my man Steve, I talk about him. The webinars, don't miss them, man. They're so great. So many things that you guys can be learning on. So you don't want to miss out those. And Steve's going to continue kicking ass with those. So thank you, Steve, for doing those. And we'll keep pushing. What's the one you just did? You did one last night, right?
Oh, geez, it's hard to remember. So last night I did my favorite indicators, the ones that are always on my charts. So yeah, it was a fun one. Definitely check that out. Last week was Wyckoff market mechanics, and this week will be volume analysis.
All right, guys, like always, check them out, guys, and check out the videos if you guys haven't done so already, guys. Yeah, I'll give you guys the link just right here so you guys can click on it right here in the chat. This is the one that he just did yesterday. So hit that link and you know where to go to right now. Just hit that. Go watch it. I'll see you guys next time right here. Like always, keep battling. It's Trade the Pool. We'll be here battling along with you.